All right. Really amazing. There are some stuff like actually going on, and I wanted to take the time to elaborate a little bit more about it, as I do feel that it would be beneficial for those who are experiencing something similar and really opening up regarding actually the next level. I'm so sorry, like I hear a bing coming up for something somewhere. I've got no idea where it's coming from. All right, let me check it like this. Um, it started off with the concept of wanting to sell constantly. And um, I personally really tune into wanting to serve first. Like I do have like a set of skill, um, knowledge, insights, interest that can be very, very beneficial for those who I have around me. And what I see quite often is that there is only being made an offer to guide people into like a client funnel, more noise and more like dragging stuff out there without actually improving their skill. Um, it almost seems like that people want to be popular instead of actually serving the individual itself. And like what I noticed, like in a little bit about the community that I'm in, is that it's coming from a place of not feeling enoughness, or at least it kind of seems like that. And I most probably I probably have the same tendencies inside of me as well. But with the whole concept of mm, insight management itself, within the AIM concept, like the last I insight management, I notice myself like living in the boundaries of not like researching the boundaries of what I'm experiencing, like my insights, my knowledge, my stuff. And in this particular case, like a lot of it is like connected to sexuality, and like not, it seems like it's not actually like being uh, invited or accepted in a certain way. And I find that a very strange thing, especially in the group that I'm in. And like maybe I'm just seeing ghosts. Maybe almost no one is experiencing this. But part of my brand, part of my way of thinking, way of publicizing, is me fully expressing me as an individual and like being okay with that. So like please be advised, like you don't need to agree with me or like argue or discuss around the facts itself, but this is a way of how I perceive um, these groups, the way that they interact with me and how I interact with them. So everything is a personal like reflection upon me as an individual. Um, yeah, because recently I talked about someone within the Tantra realm as well, and I was wondering with her if like you can start it off with Tantra, with like finding connections with another human being, and then converting that into like actual sexual um, um, like contact. And the response that she gave me was like very extreme, very like the nasty kind. It's like, oh no, if you actually want to have sex, then you need to go to that place. And I'm like, holy smokes, this actually went from zero, like me being vulnerable with asking that question itself, into something like really extreme. And yeah, that's a strange thing. Hmm. Yeah, I often say that, like, listen for insights, don't listen for agreements. And this is truly one that you need to like listen for insights. Only if you're just like curious for me as an individual, like tune into like, hey, what's Tim actually experiencing here? Like, hey, what's going on? Like actually being in contact with one another. As I do notice that that's something that I've been lacking, and most probably also the idea of what we have been lacking. Actually being in contact with another human being. So, yeah, that's a big one. And I do notice, like, even though now currently no one is actually watching online, it's totally fine. Um, I do notice myself going into a similar path as Jordan Peterson, with like fully stating out the way that I see things. Because I've learned so much from his stuff and what he did like 20 years ago, published 20 years ago. I'm like, holy smokes, a lot of his insights I use to like integrate my system upon that. Like one of the biggest ones from Jordan Peterson is people don't have ideas, but ideas have people. I'm like, shivers. But that's not really like the main thing here. Like the main thing here is I share my insights right now publicly recorded and publicly as accessed. And that doesn't mean that people will like consume that at this moment and then it will be fine. But it's totally fine if you're watching this in 2034 and you're like, holy smokes, the thing that Tim was saying, like this would be useful for your next step if you're experiencing something similar with being in such an echo chamber slash cult. And like I also want to say, like it has given me so much in between, and now it's the time to like step out of that one. And I do have like yesterday, what was it, in Telegram? Oh, yesterday someone said something to me, and I'm like, oh yes, thank you for the reference, because I was barely seeing the boundaries of like the cult anymore. And I want to like emphasize the definition of a cult itself is a culture where you don't really recognize that you are in that culture yourself. So like that's a bit difference between a cult and a culture. So it doesn't have to be like a negative or like a Hollywood variant of a cult, because it isn't. But it's a culture that you are in where you don't see the boundaries of what you're living. And it's like a little detail, but it's so important to have or to like recognize. Oh, who said that to me? Holy smokes. Oh yeah, Dana. One commune. Like I haven't been in there myself, but this could be another group that I feel would benefit from this. Reality is such an interesting journey. Oh, I had so much time back in the day to consume information. And now I'm actually the one creating the information for others. That's such an interesting state. Hmm. Yeah, there's so much trauma around sexuality. So much guilt, so much shame. Yeah. Is there anything else that I want to finish this off with? I don't think so. Let me go to the cafe. Let me drink some coffee and a soda again. And yeah, tonight I have like my going away party from my old job. And tonight, of course, I've got the webinar, Tuesday evening webinars at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Those are also being recorded and there are also being made content out of that one. And for tonight, I want to focus on the concept of the leaking bucket. Like people actually getting messages but don't actually reply to each other anymore. And yet all of us are screaming for attention. Or at least not all of us, but those who are in this echo chamber, in this cult culture. And like I really want to like invite you to either be there locally if you get the chance to see this message beforehand, or not locally but directly, like online, or check the recording, because I already know that this will be a very strong one, especially because after an, let me say, rough 2 weeks, I've like got myself a new setup, like a new location that I'm in, and yeah, that's a very important one for me to find that calmness and that rest. All right. it is time for me to actually get myself a Peaky Blinders outfit, or at least something similar, because I noticed myself wanting to play that role more and more. Alright. Have a good one, everyone. See you next time.